This year, to help out with the wildlife habitat, I decided to work up an area and put in a feed plot for the animals. This is an area that used to actually be tilled field and grew soybeans and corn on a regular basis that we let grow up into about 3 or 4 acres of just natural land. This specific area has been tilled before, and we used to put in sorghum seed here many years ago. So I decided to come out here and work it over and spread a little bit of lime and put in some red clover. First thing I did was mow the area down so it was a little easier to get through, and then I used the gator and a spreader to spread several bags of lime over the entire field area. I am specifically doing this to help make a food plot for deer hunting. However, this will also benefit turkeys, rabbits, and other wildlife, and maybe even gain some bobwhite quail and some ringneck pheasant populations in the area like we used to have. You can see the dogs are out here enjoying the area, and the presence of the dogs never really seems to bother the deer. They come right back in as soon as the dogs leave. Out there in the middle, you could see there was a beehive that I had up in the air, but it's no longer active, so I'm going to rip that out. I have a small rototiller for the back of my Kubota tractor, so I worked up the ground hoping that ripping it up some would help with the weeds, killing off some of the roots. I'm not confident that the weeds won't come right back up through this, so there's a chance I'm going to have to get some kind of herbicide to use later on this year, but I'll tackle that when the problem arises. I actually went through and tilled this a couple days in a row, getting it worked up nice and good. I want to make sure that all the dead weeds and plants are worked under because I want the best seed to soil contact that I can get, because I don't plan to roll this or pack this down at all. I just have a simple hand spreader that I got from the local store, and that's what I'm using to spread the seed, trying to get good coverage here. I went to the local ag store and I bought about 20 pounds of red clover. It's actually medium red clover. I wanted crimson red, but they would have to special order that, so we're going to see how this medium red clover does. Here's a view from the air of the seed plot. At the very end up there, I ended up tilling a separate area off to the side. I think this summer, once the ground soil temps warm up, I'm going to spread a little bit of sorghum seed there to make a bit of a barrier between our property and the neighbor's property to the north. There was a red hunting blind there, and I don't want the neighbors to be able to benefit from my work and money that I'm putting into this seed plot. There's a couple of beehives off to the side, but you can see I have some trails, and it's growing up with some nice small saplings. You can see some deer trails that run through there. They absolutely love this area, and they hang out in here and hold tight quite a bit. So I'm hoping that by putting in a seed plot, I can draw out some of those bucks to scrape up those trees through the season. There's a small water hole there that holds water almost year-round, so they have plenty of access to water right there in the immediate area, with an ag field up to both sides of this area. You can see there's a deer trail that cuts right through the field from one swale right over to the other where I'm planting this food plot. And then there's just more ag field across the road and wooded area. This year I'm going to have corn, so that'll help hold the deer in. And here's a view of that spot where I'm planting the food plot from the other direction. It butts right up to my woods. We're going to fly over and give you a look at what's going on here. That's my farm off to the left, so I can sneak in along the edge of the field, or I can cut through the trail through the woods, depending on where the deer activity is at. I've got several trails going on here through the woods, and I've also planted some microplots in the woods. I'm flying over one of them there right now. You can see at the bottom of the screen. I'll pause for a minute. And there is a tree stand over that. And then that white spot in the center there is a elevated hunting blind, and all of the dark that's right to the right of that screen is another micro plot that I have worked up and seeded for the middle of the woods there. The deer love to follow the trails that I have in the woods, and they always go to the pond that's centered on the screen right now, so they have 2 good water sources, plenty of cover, and hopefully now, after seeding these food plots, they'll also have plenty of feed to hold them into the area. And that's just a quick view of the area that I have the food plot.